Do you love motherhood, but you also feel like you're drowning? Do you feed your kids organic fruit, but don't mind some screen time? Then this is the podcast for you. We are the Scrunchy Moms Club who like to keep it real and relatable about the roller coaster of motherhood. We aren't silky moms, we aren't crunchy moms, but we are scrunchy moms. Welcome back, scrunchy moms.
Hi, how are you? I know that's such a loaded question.
Such a loaded question. Yeah. We're not really gonna have much banter this episode because it's kind of a serious one.
As you can tell by the title.
By the M word. Can anybody guess what the M word is? It's miscarriage. Yeah. It's time to talk about it. It's a hard one to talk about, obviously, but it's something that is getting normalized more and more. It still has some work to be done.
There's definitely a big stigma, but I think it's good to talk about. I feel like we were going to get there eventually, but
right.
Obviously, as we'll talk about, it's very
prevalent in my life right now.
Yeah. I don't think we could have another. We actually had scheduled a totally different episode, but there's just no way we can talk about anything else.
The chain of events of the last week of my life have turned my life upside down. So we didn't even know if we wanted to record today, but it was like, I felt like it was important. And it is therapeutic to talk about as well, because no one talks about it. So
nobody.
I hope, if anything, I can be of service to someone else who has gone through similar or anything like that, because it's this shit is no fucking joke.
I think it'll be therapeutic to talk about and to sort of like go through the motions. And we have nothing prepared. We're just gonna wing it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
We have tissues.
There might be some tears. There might not be. Like we were just saying, like sometimes I'm like literally Kim K ugly sobbing. And sometimes when I talk about it, I'm straight as an arrow. So I really just don't know. We're just gonna, whatever emotions flow, they will and not. And
we're just here for the ride.
And I just felt like too, like I wouldn't be authentic if I didn't share. Like I couldn't just record an episode willy-nilly and not.
No, we just probably wouldn't record. Which I said is fine, but you.
I just felt like it's necessary. It's necessary. It's important.
And it gets you out of, your routine of.
I'm out of bed.
Yeah.
I'm in my living room. It's much better than being in my bed where I've been for the last week. So thank you for getting me out of bed, Savannah.
No problem.
Yeah. So
wherever you want to start.
Yeah,
with this.
I guess so. So, I was pregnant.
You found out, or actually I found out the first day we recorded our very first episode, which I cannot rewatch, by the way, without cringing so hard. But,
oh my God, right.
Because we were just so new, and I mean, we're still not great, but anyway, that first recording session is when you threw the pregnancy
test at you.
And I screamed because I already had a feeling you were pregnant, because a week before we were hanging out and you had these weird symptoms. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think you're pregnant. And you were like, no, I don't know. And then, that's when you found out. So what? That was a couple months.
That was in May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I found out I was pregnant, and I had a crazy, it was just so different from my last pregnancy. Joe and I just had mild fatigue and
until the end of Jonah's pregnancy, it was very easy.
Yeah.
breezy.
I really, so this time around I had every motherfucking symptom in the book, and it started very early. I feel literally from when I conceived,
you were down for the count.
I was down.
Couldn't get out of bed. Yeah.
Nauseous, diarrhea, constipated. I'm diarrhea and constipation at the same time, if you can believe it. Fatigue that is more than you could even.
Yeah,
that's a great word. Yeah, I just had a debilitating time. So,
and that went on for...
Obviously, we were excited because, you know, we had been wanting to try for a while, and it happened, and that was great. And I had my first appointment where I was quote unquote 7 weeks. We'll get to that in a second. And
you went by yourself.
I went by myself because I was like, Sam, whatever. It's the first kid. Like, who cares? Or second kid. Who cares?
And also this appointment, you didn't know if you're going to get an ultrasound. Like, you didn't know what it was.
I really didn't know because I switched OBs because I wanted like a brand new, fresh perspective since my pregnancy with Jonah. So I went by myself, transvaginal. The doctor
and the doctor did your ultrasound.
Yeah, the doctor.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, this office is totally different from my last. And he was like, "Oh, you're having a twin pregnancy. Here's your pictures. See you next month."
Literally just like that.
Just like that. You couldn't have, like, I literally screamed, like, "What do you mean?" Like, I was like so in shock because, to my knowledge, there was no history of it in either of our families, and it was just so, like, it was just so shocking. But, like, obviously, like, we were stoked. Like, it was like, okay, like, yeah, twins are hard, but, like, what a fucking blessing. Like, how amazing will that be? And, like, you know, Sam and I we really wanted 3 kids.
Well, because I remember when you had all those crazy symptoms before you had the appointment, I was joking, like, maybe it's twins because,
we all
like,
joked, yeah.
it's hitting you really hard. And, like, that's what they say about twins because it's double the hormones.
Yeah.
Like, you get double the symptoms. And I was like, I don't know why. Like, I feel like it might be twins.
And Sam joked about it, too. Like, it's funny. Like, people, like, you all, like, had this, like, weird inkling. So, yeah, we were really excited. But obviously I knew that meant that I was high risk again.
But at the appointment, like, there were 2 heartbeats, like, everything looked okay.
2 heartbeats, everything was okay. But the thing is, I wasn't 7 weeks. So it turns out that I was actually 5 weeks.
You were measuring 2 weeks behind?
Yeah, almost 2 weeks behind.
Oh, but they weren't concerned at that point?
No, they were like, that's what happens with twins. So it's just...
because
because they're smaller. So, I was just, like 2 heartbeats, everything was fine. I'm like, wow. But, like, I was kind of like, you don't want to see me next week? You don't want to see me in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Like I was just so, like...
This is a brand new territory.
Yeah, like, I'm going from congenital heart defect to twins. Like
fuck. One high-risk pregnancy to another high-risk pregnancy. Right. Which I really didn't want for you.
I know, but, you know, so I... that was like in the beginning of June, that appointment. And, you know, the worst first trimester I could wish for anybody. I was really just, debilitated, down for the count. I had to really rely on everybody and their mom. Like it was so
physically,
bad.
But I also feel like mentally you struggled a lot more this pregnancy than with Jonah, because we went through pregnancies at the same time with Jonah, and I feel like I was in such a bad mental place, but you were like, no,
I was chill.
It's kind of like ignorance is bliss sort of a thing, but maybe this pregnancy, because you were just a lot more anxious, I remember.
A lot more anxious because I just wanted to know that everything was okay, especially, I know like so much can happen with twins, and that first trimester in general, you're holding your breath.
Yep.
And you're not really telling anybody. And when you're not telling anybody, that's isolating. We've kind of talked about this, right? And I think I told more people than I did with Jonah, because having twins is just so epic. And I think for me, it was just, I didn't tell, like, obviously, like, I told, like, my nail lady and my hair lady, but not, like,
those people
I didn't tell anybody, like, crazy. I told, like, my very close friends, and I have a lot of close friends, so, you know, it just kind of escalated in that regard.
I feel like you had to tell people because you were so physically affected. Like,
I was so physically sick.
Nobody could look at you and, like, they would know something's wrong.
Right, and, like,
You're running to the bathroom.
But I needed help.
And you couldn't stand up to be with Jonah. Like, you almost fainted a few times.
Oh, my God, yeah. Like, it really was so crazy. So, yeah. So I did tell, quite a few close friends before, and before I would have felt comfortable doing so, but I did. I did, and I have no regrets about that. And yeah, so
and you also said, like, in the Jewish culture, like, it's
you really don't.
You don't.
You really don't. Yeah, there's no baby showers. There's no. You celebrate that baby after it's born. Mm-hmm. Like, remember Sophia Richie?
Yeah, she did something after.
Because she married a Jew. Mm-hmm. And they did like a thing. Yeah, which I thought was like so cute of her to like, respect that.
I did like that. Yeah. I didn't realize it was such a prominent thing in the Jewish culture that you don't celebrate the baby. You don't talk about the baby.
You don't buy furniture. You don't do anything until, unless if somebody buys you something, it can't be in your house. Like it has to be somewhere else. Yeah. So it's, so again, feeling just so terrible, anxious, and just physically terrible. But I was happy, again, just like happy, really, really stoked. I had no cramping or bleeding, nothing like that, again, it was just like the physical usual pregnancy symptoms.
Yeah, you had no signs of anything wrong. You had all the good signs.
Right.
Like all the
symptoms, signs that show like I'm pregnant.
All the symptoms of a growing pregnancy. You had no signs of a miscarriage, no bleeding, like you said, no cramping, nothing like that.
Yeah. So my next appointment was at 10 weeks and some change. And it just like time couldn't have gone slower that month. It was really...
It always does, but like your situation, especially because of twins and because of your past trauma. Like I remember you were really struggling waiting.
That, and I now realize more than ever that I have some unresolved PTSD that I really need to get through. But I guess that's a whole other topic. But I even I remember texting you and being like, I think I want a private ultrasound because
you were getting close.
Yeah. I was this fucking close to getting and thank God I didn't. But also because I was just trying anything to be like, I just want to make sure everything's okay, and I really was overall trying to be positive. But again, obviously the anxious thoughts creep in, and
because those first 12 weeks are like that crucial time.
And I really and obviously I know that's when the heart develops. So
you were very strict this pregnancy.
Yeah, so I used to be on antidepressants and I got off of them right before I started trying. I have really now I even have guilt about did I dye my hair or did I, you know what I mean? There's so many crazy things.
Spirals you could go down, and I'm sure you have gone down.
Yeah. So I really tried to eat, and I ate really well, and I actually had I actually craved healthy food. It was actually so, because Jonah, I remember all I wanted was Chick-fil-A and tacos, and that's all I wanted. This pregnancy, I was very I want to nourish my body really well.
You were being so good. And even when you were dying, nauseous, sick to your stomach, you refused to take the anti-nausea because you just were you didn't want anything. If anything were to happen, you didn't want to have any what ifs. You were being so strong about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be doing everything right and still something goes wrong. And that's just the reality of life. But, so anyway, so finally we make it to my 10-week appointment, the longest month of my life. And I bring Sam this time because he was like, hell no, I'm coming with you.
Oh yeah, he was so sad that he didn't get to see
at the first time. Yeah. And so I brought him with me, and
on your way there, were you super excited? What was your emotion going through it?
I was nervous. I was nervous but excited because the day before you and I were talking and we're it's, I feel fine and nothing's happened. So I'm sure that I'm fine,
That was the day before.
That was the day before. Yeah. And that's what I felt. I was everything should be fine because I haven't had any signs or symptoms of anything. So, so we go to the doctor, they do an ultrasound. Well, actually, sorry, let me rewind. My doctor's appointment was Tuesday. On Friday, I got my NIPT blood work, and they did a urine sample and all that too. When I got to my appointment, they didn't want a urine sample. And I find that funky. That was like my first thing where I was like, that's weird, but like, okay, I guess they know what they're doing. I don't know if maybe at my Friday appointment, maybe my HCG levels were off. I really don't know. I have no, it's not on my portal or anything, and they probably do that on purpose, but I don't know. But that was like my first, like, okay, but like, whatever. I didn't even really think anything of it until I got home, and I was like, oh yeah, they didn't want a urine sample. So then we get in, whatever. They tried to do a abdominal ultrasound, but they couldn't see anything, so they had to do transvaginal for me. And this doctor was very nice.
This is a different one than
than I saw because I was really just trying to meet everybody. That was kind of my goal, and that was my goal last pregnancy too. Like, because you really can't plan what doctor you have.
They suggest that, like, to meet everyone, because you don't know when you give birth which one.
Unless you like schedule an induction, no, you really don't know who is gonna be delivering your baby. So, so we transvaginal, and the first machine is like glitching. And I'm sitting there already, like, and my blood pressure was high too, actually, weirdly enough, because I think I was just so anxious and nervous. And she was like, you know what, let me go get another machine. I'll be right back. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like literally dying. Then she comes back with a second machine. I lay back, everything like that. And she's just dead silent. And my eyes are closed, and I'm just like breathing. I'm just like trying to focus on my breath. And because she was printing pictures. So I was like, if you're printing pictures, like in my head, I was like, oh, maybe she's just like really concentrating.
You've never met this doctor. You don't know if that's just what she does.
Right. I just had no idea. So I was like, okay, like she's printing pictures, but I don't know. But like, whatever, hopefully she'll say something soon. And
Sam wasn't asking any questions.
No, he was just like holding my hand and like looking. Because I don't think he also knew what he was really looking at. No. So after like, I don't know, it felt like forever, but like there was just silence. And I like ended up looking up, and I don't even remember the exact words she said, but she was like, they're like, I remember seeing, there was a small, like there were I had two sacks, two separate sacks, and one sack, like the baby, it was like still so small.
It looked like similar to when
I first went in, and then the second one. So one twin only grew to like about 7 weeks, and the other one grew to 8 weeks 2 days. And there were no heartbeats on either one.
So what was the first thing she said, or you don't remember?
She was just like, "There's no heartbeat," and I was just like, it didn't
hit you.
I think I was just initially confused. Yeah, confusion and shock were like the first initial emotions I felt. Like no tears came yet. I was just like, yeah, I was just genuinely confused. Because again, I feel fine.
Yeah.
I have had no symptoms. And she was like, I wish I was wrong. But like, I really, like, I don't see. And I also looked at it, and when you look at the ultrasound, you see the baby moving and you see the heartbeat. Like you do, I kind of know what I'm looking at because I've seen so many ultrasounds in my time. And yeah, I was just sitting there.
Yeah, you can't deny what you see on the screen.
So I was just like, okay. And she like did a little more looking, and she even found a third empty sack.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Wow.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
But completely empty.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I don't know. But I don't really want to know what it means.
Yeah.
So she takes it out. I'm literally sitting there just like shocked. And what she initially wanted me to do was to get a second opinion and go to the hospital across the street. She's like, their machines are a little bit better. Like, it would make me feel more comfortable if you did that. And I listened. I didn't really respond because, again, I'm just like,
you're still in shock at this point. Yeah.
And she's like, like she gave me the options. Obviously, like option 1 is letting it pass naturally. Option 2 is taking the pill, which like I feel like barely works. I feel like anytime I've heard anybody talk about the pill, like they end up having to get a DNC anyway. And then the third option is getting a DNC. And that's where I immediately was like, DNC. Like I
didn't hesitate.
I didn't hesitate because my mind is very like, especially with like medical care, is like black and white. Like if there is a procedure or a medication or something that is going to quote unquote fix it, then do it.
The fastest way, easiest, the quote unquote easiest way.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it just made the most sense to me
than
because
to go home and wait for the inevitable.
I don't have time for that. I have a toddler. I can't sit around and be like, oh, I may or may not miscarry today. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not like miscarrying is just you go to the toilet one time. Like you don't know. It could be days. You're in excruciating pain.
Actually, they even say it takes up to a month sometimes.
Wow.
Like it's like there's I could never. That could never be me.
That could never be me either.
So I immediately said, DNC, when can you make it happen? And at this point I was still like kind of together. And she's like, I mean, we can really try this week. I was like, cause I was like, yeah, I don't want to wait. I don't want to like, you know what I mean? I want it ASAP as soon as you can. So, so she was like, well, I really want, before we schedule a DNC, I want you to go to the hospital. And she was like, I'm going to leave the room for a little bit and I'm going to come back. I want you to, you know, just take your time, talk it over, like take your time. So she leaves. And again, I'm just like, like I just look at Sam and I'm like, I just don't understand. And I told him that I don't want to go to the hospital and do this again. Yeah,
go through the same thing, have them pull out the ultrasound, see what you already know. That
like I've seen what I need to see, you know, and I don't know if their technology really is going to be that much better at seeing that there's nothing in either. You know what I mean? Like I said to Sam, I because he was kind of like, I think we should, and I was like, Sam, I can't go through that again.
And she seemed pretty confident. She said, I wish I was wrong, but like,
yeah,
I don't see heartbeats.
Yeah. And
the size, like you couldn't deny any of that.
Mm-hmm. So when she walked back in, I told her, I said, I really don't want to go, respectfully. Like, I really don't. And she was like, I want you to go home and just like think about it. And then like, I'll call you tomorrow. And I just, you know, and then they left us and, we left and I wailed in the parking lot, wailing, like sobbing, wailing. And
that's when you like had your moment of like,
yeah,
you let it all out.
Yeah. For the first time anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I really just didn't understand. Like, I felt fine. Nothing happened. But a miscarriage is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, it was also like, fuck, I've been living with 2 dead fetuses in my body for 2 weeks, and I didn't know. Like,
well, that's
what the fuck?
That's the fucked up thing about a miscarriage is your body. Like, that's why it's called missed. Like, your body still thinks you're pregnant, so that's why you still had all these symptoms.
Had all the symptoms.
You were horribly sick, all of that, because your body still thinks you're pregnant, but the babies have stopped growing. Like, it's so fucked up.
It's so fucked. I mean, and all of it's fucked up.
All of it, yeah.
But, like, in my perspective of what I went through, yeah, it was just like, what the like, I'm so embarrassed that I still said I was like, you know what I mean? It was just there was that like kind of anger of like, wow, I've been quote unquote pregnant, but like not really, you know? Like, I feel so stupid almost. And yeah, so we went home and we had Jonah that day. Yeah, Sam just kind of, I from that day forward, I was just in bed. This
was like a week ago.
Yeah.
So it's very fresh.
It's still very fresh, people, you know, but yeah, so Sam just kind of had to, take Jonah, and I just was doing my thing. The next day, I got a call from the doctor, but she didn't call me till like noon, which like was so annoying because I was like waiting. I guess she was in the OR doing things, whatever. Whatever. Like, I guess she had I guess I'm not her only patient in the world. I obviously know that, but when you're going through it, you like feel like you're the only person in the world.
Minutes or hours or days.
Right. Yeah. And also in my head, I'm like, what if I pass the baby right now? Like that was the other thing.
Every time you went to the bathroom, probably.
Every time I went to the bathroom, every time I felt something, like it was like, so yeah, so crazy. So yeah, so she ended up calling me, and I said, I don't want to go back to the hospital for an ultrasound. I want a DNC, and that's what I want. I want it this week. Let's make it happen. And she's like, okay, I'll have my schedule call you. And she called me like pretty much right away after that. And at first she was like, oh, we can see you Monday. And this was Wednesday. And I was like, no, the fuck you're not. I was sobbing at her, and I was like, no, I am not waiting until Monday. I don't want to wait
5 days. Yeah.
The doctor told me she could see me this week. She said it with her mouth, and I'm going to hold her to it. So she said, okay, let me call you back. So then she called me shortly after, and she goes, okay, she can fit you in tomorrow at 2.
I hate how you have to get to that point for them to actually do it.
Right. Yeah, because I think because the doctor also knew that she did tell me that.
She did.
Yeah, she did say, like, I can fit you in Thursday or Friday or whatever. So, yeah, so I ended up going Thursday at 2. Yeah, so, and it's like a legit, quote unquote, surgery, really. It is.
Did you, like, research anything about it? Like
no.
That?
No.
You didn't do anything?
I didn't do any research. I didn't want to know.
Did she tell you anything about it?
Yeah, like she told me, you go under, you need to shower with the fucking antiseptic soap the day before. You need to, I had to fast. I had to, like, it's an in and out procedure. I mean, essentially it, like we were just talking, before we recorded, that it is an abortion. Like, it's a medical abortion.
Yes.
So DNC stands for dilation and...
Oh, really?
Hold on. DNC.
Yeah, so it's a medical abortion. That's why when Roe
Dilation and curettage. Mm-hmm. So you literally like scrape the uterus.
Yeah, you take everything out. Well, that's why when
I'm not laughing.
When Roe v. Wade got overturned, that's why people who needed medical abortions, aka DNCs, like it really affected them. Some people would have to go out of state to get DNC. Some people,
insanity.
Some doctors just refuse to do it because they don't want to risk their license, which is like, you literally have a dead fetus inside you, and you can't help me. Like that's crazy. So yeah, that's all I really knew. Like, and she like gave me the risks and stuff, but I was just like, okay, like whatever. Like, yeah, they all have to say that.
Yeah, do what you got to do. So yeah, so then, the problem for us, because it was on a Thursday, was childcare, because Jonah, he doesn't go to school on Tuesday, Thursdays. But I was like really I was on the phone with fucking everybody and their mom. Even my sister was going to try to come from.
I offered,
everybody was really trying. But I also know everybody has their fucking lives and their kids and things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know people
you don't like asking for help.
That, but I also know people got shit to do. People have their lives. So, so what I ended up doing was I called the office of Jonah's school, and I was like, hey, I'm having an emergency procedure tomorrow. That's all I said. I didn't say, like, obviously I didn't tell them my life story. I really need childcare. Like, I'm pretty desperate. Is there any way that Jonah can be at school tomorrow? I will pay whatever. Like, just like, can you make it happen? She was like, let me check the ratios and call you back, whatever. So she did. And, again, I think I was just oversensitive, but she was like, you're lucky. Like, we were able to make it happen. And I'm just like, okay, great. Thanks. Like, take my money and like, like, fine. And Jonah's happy at school. Like, he'll be well taken. You know what I mean? Like, I know
you don't have to worry.
I don't have to worry that he's like rotting in front of a TV or like anything like that. Right. So no, it made me feel much better that I had that taken care of. And then like we arranged like my my brother-in-law Mitch picked him up from school, which shout out Mitch. He's been dying for a shout out, by the way. I'm like,
Well,
you'll get it during my miscarriage episode.
I was gonna say, it's probably not the best shout out.
No, it is. It is because he's there.
I will say in times like this, like you really, just like when Jonah's whole thing happened, you really find out who's there for you.
Right.
And who steps up. Yeah.
Who fucking steps up. So I had like childcare like totally taken care of. That again, that was like a 2-hour like me on and off the phone with everybody and their mom. And all of that. So got it. And of course, and then I'm like having crying episodes in between all of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you have to like be together, but also you're grieving. It's just such a fucked situation. And then the telling people too is what's like, you literally have to like unannounce.
I know
to people.
That like killed me for you, because I know how hard it was for you to tell people because of your culture, and you were anxious about it, and you all of that. So like that really killed me, knowing that you now have to, and like that would be really hard to have to undo it now. Like, because you don't want to talk about it, just like you don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to relive this, but now I have to tell. Like, shout out to you. I would have just been like, Taylor sent a mass text and be like, do not talk to me. Like, tell those people, like, don't talk to me.
Well, like, I kind of did. I sent a text to who knew, and I just said, hey, this is what happened, and I'm not ready to talk about it right now, but just know that I love and appreciate you. Like, that was like kind of my blanket text to everybody who knew.
And still way more than you ever had to do.
Right. But also, like, again, I confided in these people, and I, the day before I was sending pregnancy memes, and like, and then here I am. So, yeah, that was difficult. And, but obviously, and because also too, there's just no words. There's no fucking words you can say to anybody.
Yeah, to make them feel it.
There's no, this
anything.
Was all in God's plan. This was all, there's so many things.
Everything's meant to be like, fuck off, dude.
This happened for a reason. Well, fuck, I'm so sick of all the reasons of shit that's happened to me.
Has anybody said those things to you this last week?
Not quite.
Okay, good. I know the how are you feeling is a trigger.
How are you?
Well,
are you okay? Like, no, I'm not fucking okay, but thanks. Yeah, no, how are you's definitely been a trigger. And everyone's been so great and sending me food and like, comfort food and, some flowers and, yeah, there's really nothing you can do, say. There's nothing tangible. There's nothing. You just have to feel the emotions and just let your grief take you.
I think that's what I said when you sent me a voice note, or us a voice note, and that's what I said. I was like, there's literally nothing I can say, but just know I'm here for you whatever you need from me. Like, I'm here for you.
That, and I think I do think talking about it is helpful, because it makes me even just listening, like, you don't have to say a fucking thing back. And maybe this will help somebody who, like, if your friend has gone through a miscarriage and you don't know what to do or say, like, I think it's just like, just listen. Like, Monica laid in my bed with me yesterday and just like, let me talk. You know what I mean? Like, that's like
Monica's the best.
Shout out to her. Yeah, like, it's, but I also like don't want to be around anybody because, like, I was saying to you, like, I'm literally at my worst. I'm not the happy-go-lucky self I am right now. I'm completely, I'm not myself.
This isn't one of those like moments where like you would show up unannounced and like force yourself on the person like to be happy. Like, they have to grieve in their own time. And that's like another thing, like grieving any sort of loss, like any sort of grief as a parent adds a whole new layer, because you can't even fully,
it's so hard to grieve with
you can't fully grieve because you have to snap right into being a parent and caring for this human and not showing them that you're hurting. because you don't want it to affect that, you know, like all these things. So it's like you almost have to take turns grieving with your partner. Like, you take the child, I'm gonna go rot and like bawl my eyes out, then we'll take turns. Like, yeah, it's so fucked.
Because Sam, like, you know, obviously he's trying to be strong for everybody, and I obviously love and respect that so much, but I obviously know he's also grieving, because you're not only grieving the baby or babies that you lost, you're grieving the plans you had, you're grieving the fantasy of what could have been, or what could have been. There's so much you're grieving. Not a loss is a loss, whether you're 6 weeks, whether you're 10 weeks, whether you're 20, like all of it. Obviously, like, stillborns is a whole other thing. Loss, because this loss is so unique, because you never knew the thing you lost, but you're grieving more of the
what if, like
the idea of
the
it,
fact
and
that you'll never know.
That I'll never know. I think it's so different from losing like a grandparent or you know what I mean?
I knew all this time,
right,
and have memories, but this is something that you could have created those memories. You have ideas of what those memories could have been. Yeah, I think that's a totally different, equally hard, but yeah, it's a different level of, like, it's the what ifs, like you said.
Yeah, the loss of the idea. Because again, we were just so excited that, like, oh, we're getting a buy one get one free, like, perfect, I get my 3 kids that I wanted. And
you were like weirdly excited about twins, like, because for me twins sounds so hard, such a blessing, but like for me, because my sister-in-law, I mean, she did it like a champ. I admire people that have twins, because it's so hard, like that newborn stage times it by 2.
No, I feel like the first 3 years would be hard.
Oh yeah,
you know, but for me, absolutely. I was kind of like, that's
but you were so excited. You were like, no, this is perfect, like it's all meant to be, because I wanted 3 kids. Like, you were very, very into the idea.
Yeah. And so it's a lot of that too. And the space, like, I even loved, like, they would be 3 years apart. Like, I could really go on about, like, all my hopes and dreams, obviously.
You were looking at houses to expand. Like, you really...
Cars, like, all of it. Because, like, our cars are not big. Like, that was the first thing Sam said when I told him that we were having twins. He was like, we need bigger cars. Like, yeah. So, it's terrible. And, you know, my sister-in-law gave me a book. It's called All the Love, Healing Your Heart and Finding Meaning After Pregnancy Loss. It has been so fantastic having this book. I'm already like halfway through, if you can believe it. And I received it, on Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday was how many days ago? Like 4 or 5 days ago? Something like that. Yeah.
Time is a construct.
I know, right?
I thought she gave it to you like the day it happened.
No. I really don't know. I knew it was like either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty shortly after.
Yeah.
Because you were already telling me you were reading it, and it's been helpful.
Yeah. So this has been, and what I love about this book is that it has very specific chapters, and the chapters are really easy to read, and they're very short, and they encourage you to like go to the chapters that are relevant to you, and like if it's not relevant to you, you skip it, which like that's great. And I'm learning so much, number one, and number two, it's obviously making me feel seen. And especially like they even have a chapter about a loss of multiples, you know, so it's really so crazy. Because also like think about me with I was obviously pregnant with multiples. I read my like post-surgery report because I'm crazy like that, and I don't know if you would ever do the same thing, but
oh yes.
My uterus was the size of 12 weeks. Yeah, and the terminology it's like so like
I know,
like I don't even, yeah, no, the terminology they use like in their doctor's notes is like so insane. But there's just like a few things, because, you know, when you already have it, obviously it's so different when this is like your first pregnancy and you've miscarried versus when you already have a child. Because a lot of what people want to say to you, especially when you have a child, well, at least you have Jonah, or at least your body made Jonah, or at least, you know,
Like, you can have a healthy baby. Like, you can have a baby. So,
those comments are not helpful.
I'm sorry to say.
Because I fucking know that.
And it doesn't make you wrong to get, like, doesn't mean you don't have a right to grieve. Like,
this is what I was about to read to you. So, and this was I've literally been taking this book and like highlighting the shit out of it, like, of things that are resonating with me. So, so something that really has resonated with me, especially because again, I have a child, that you do not have to cure grief with gratitude. So I think people do that a lot because it's uncomfortable. Like, grieving and loss and all of these grief feelings are very uncomfortable for people, especially for the person that's not going through it and they're trying to be there for you. And so they try to immediately just like make something positive out of it or something like.
And I think even ourselves when we're going through it, because I do that toxically a lot where I'm like, no, I have so much to be grateful for. Like, I'm blessed. Like, I don't need to be sad. But it's like, actually, you have a right to be sad. I love that. What is it? Grief?
You do not have to cure your grief with gratitude.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so fucking true.
Gratitude in and of itself is wonderful, but using it with the belief that if you're grateful for one thing, your grief due to another will dissipate might actually prolong your suffering. Connecting your grief.
Because you're like putting a Band-Aid over it.
Yes.
Like, oh, but I'm grateful.
Oh, but I have Jonah. I'm fine. Like, no, you're not fucking fine.
You're not fine.
They are two mutually exclusive individual things.
Yep.
Connecting with your grief is the only way to process it. The more you try to apply the solution of gratitude for the child you have, the more you miss the opportunity to connect with the grief you feel over the child you lost. So that was like really fucking
and I feel like it also like puts
me.
Pressure on that child,
right?
Especially when they grow up. Like, no, like it's not a placeholder for the one you lost,
right? Why can't I be grateful for the blessings I have and still be sad and angry about what I lost? Like, it sounds so simple, but
no, it's so true.
Nobody practices that.
No, like you said, people who are trying to comfort people say that, and then when you're actually going through it, I feel like that's your coping mechanism. You say that, like, but I'm so blessed. I have all these things. I have a living child. I have this, but I agree with the book. It doesn't help you move on. If anything, it makes it worse. It makes prolongs
you have to go through the motions. You can be two things can be true. Two truths can be
hold space for two truths.
Hold space for two truths. It's true, and so I think that's one thing I want someone to take away from this is don't fucking say that to the people that you already have kids that have miscarried.
And just because you're grieving one loss doesn't mean you're ungrateful for your child. Like, mutually exclusive things.
Right, exactly. And sorry, I'm going through like all my little saved.
I love that you have notes and stuff.
Yeah, because really, like, because it's so. I hope that if you have gone through this, I'll post a picture of the book too.
Oh, you should, yeah,
on Insta, because it really has been again an easy read, and I'm not like the biggest reader in the universe, so like this has been great. But like again, like there's a chapter about like looking for answers, because I'm very much that person that like with miscarriage too. A lot of it's not cause and effect. It's not. Unless like, I drank alcohol my whole first pregnancy, then I lost the baby. Yeah, obviously that's like very like.
But
cause
even
and effect.
so, some people, but yes,
right,
there's
no like cause and effect like X equals Y or Y equals Z with miscarriage. It's not. I died of a heart like when I died of they had cancer, so they died. Like that's different because there was a cause and effect. Mm-hmm. With miscarriage, it's just some fucking phenomenon that happens.
And I think that makes it harder because some will never know what caused it.
Nope. And there's no control over
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's no.
This baby was either going to happen or not going to happen, but there's nothing and I think that's why those first 3 months are so fucking hard. Because it's like whether I go pee right now and it's a puddle of blood or not, like there's nothing I can do.
Well, that's been the biggest lesson for me. I was literally just saying this to my dad this morning, is that I guess it's another reminder for me, because obviously everything I went through with Jonah has been what it is, and we have no control in this life. No,
you've really been shown that the last couple years.
we have very little control over this life. There's some things I can control how much coffee I drink. I can control.
Yeah, obviously,
I can
free
control,
will is a real thing, but you're talking in the
like
sense
the
of
grand scheme of life. Like we are so out. We're not in control of any of it.
Nope.
And that is still a lesson that I extremely struggle with because it's like,
well, we're big control freaks.
yeah,
like so
very much so. And
yeah.
I've learned that. I've only learned that in motherhood. And so like in the book, there's another thing I highlighted, like answers would have given me some kind of control or at least a feeling of control. But because like I told you, I'm getting a genetic test, but is that really going to cure my grief? No, not at all. Even if it was a chromosomal abnormality or whatever the fuck, like
no, because that could still happen another time. Whether like if it was like I took this medication and that medication caused me to miscarry.
Right.
Okay, next time I'm not going to take that. But that's not how it works. So even with a genetic thing, you don't know if it's going to happen again. Like, so I don't think it would cure it because it's not in your control.
Yeah,
whether it's going to happen again, whether it's never going to happen again.
You can do everything right. You can eat all the fucking vegetables and you can, it just, again, it's nothing.
And now you know because you literally did everything, quote unquote, right the first. And so that's, these things just, I mean, as shitty as these things are out of your control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there was nothing you could have done.
Yeah. Miscarriage may be considered common, but that does not make the loss less painful or perplexing. Yeah. Like that's the other thing. Like when people are like, well, it's common. Fucking great. Like that doesn't, that doesn't mean that it's not fucking sad.
No.
And also I really liked this too, because pregnancy is, they label pregnancy high risk, low risk. Pregnancy is a risk regardless. Mm-hmm. What age you are, anything, because anything can happen.
Yep.
Right? And like, I like that they said, like, can we just accept that pregnancy always carries some risk and get rid of these labels? It's true.
That is true.
Like, I didn't, like, yeah, there's just, I could really, like, I've obviously, like, pinned so many things. But, yeah, this book has really been incredible for my 1 week of grieving so far. Yeah. And also, I had a friend get me a miscarriage journal. And it has prompts.
You do like to journal.
I do like, because I did journal when everything was happening with Jonah. So yeah. So basically it's just been, yeah, I got my DNC and since then it's just been.
But it sounds like you're reading that book, you're journaling, you're trying to.
I'm feeling.
You're feeling, and that's the thing. Like
I'm trying to like not block my tears. I'm trying not to. I think that's like what I'm trying, because I was saying it to Sam the other day. Like for Jonah, like we couldn't grieve because we were in the hospital and we were like had to be alert for doctors and things like that. And like this kind of grieving is different.
And you're like holding your breath the whole time. Whereas this, it's like you can exhale, like it's done, like you know the outcome.
Right. Like like my pregnancy is over. And in Jonah's case, I couldn't lay in my bed for a week.
Yeah, literally.
And sulk and my sorrows. Like I couldn't. And thank God, again, thank God I have help that, like yesterday I had like my brother and sister-in-law take him in the morning and I had one of my dear friends take him in the afternoon. Like I have people who are stepping up and it's really like, there's nothing.
It's really hard for you to ask for help.
I finally literally said like, I need help. Like, please. Cause also like, again, Sam is like hanging on by a thread and he's trying to be okay. And I respect what he's doing, but he also needs time. So it's just, it's been.
You were saying it's like a roller coaster, the grief. It comes in waves. You'll be okay. And then not. And that's.
But I really haven't left my house in a week, but I think I do need to give myself maybe like, okay, like tomorrow I will, Actually, yesterday Sam like shoved me out and was like, "Go get a Starbucks coffee and come back."
It's like baby steps.
Yeah. And I did. And actually, like what I did, which like 10 out of 10 recommend, there was like a really bad thunderstorm yesterday. Did it hit you guys too?
It's like every day, but yeah.
No, but like yesterday was like really bad.
Yeah.
I sat in my car with my Starbucks and I have a sad girl playlist. I've just like kind of always had one. Yeah. And sad girl playlist. I just like sang at the top of my lungs, and I also screamed at God a little bit too.
Okay. Sometimes
while it's pouring rain.
Wow.
Like it was
it's
cathartic.
like a music video.
Yeah, it really like literally like very cathartic and very therapeutic to do that.
No, I think that's very
10 out of 10.
You gotta get your anger.
And I did that for like an hour.
That's another stage of grief, is like angry. Like, why the F did this?
Yeah, there's a lot of I had just read the chapter about the stages of grief and how they were saying like it's so like stupid, because I mean it's not stupid. It, like obviously there are stages, but it's also like you're gonna go, there's no order.
No,
there's no like, it's
and like anything you feel when you grieve, like my mom, what does she say, like you can never tell someone how they're going to grieve. Like you can't blame someone for how they grieve. Everyone grieves differently. So if they, don't want to talk to you for a month, or if they do this or that, like especially you and your partner, because like you and your partner grieve differently. So you can't get mad at how they're handling it or not handling it, because everyone grieves differently. And I think that's really hard on you and your partner. I'm not speaking for you. I'm just saying, like, no, I mean, in general,
it's true. Yeah.
It's really
men and women in general, obviously grieve differently. And yeah. So that's kind of been, that's the life update. I mean, and yeah, again, I just didn't feel like we could like go on to another episode without at least getting that out in the open, for me anyway. I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
I mean, yeah, we can talk about it. Are we good on time? I mean,
we're at 51, but yeah, I think
whatever. This will be a longer episode. Well, yeah, I mean, since we're talking about miscarriage, I didn't want you to be alone up there on your podium. And I haven't told, like, literally nobody knows this about me, because that's another thing. I mean, I think we kind of briefly mentioned it. Like, there's such a stigma on miscarriage. Like, nobody talks about it, and there's almost like a shame about it. And I feel like
a shame, and more people have gone through it than you even realize that have not opened up about it.
Like me. So yeah, so
you told me, do you remember how you told me?
Yeah, on the Disney boat ride
on fucking It's a Small World.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was. It's a bitch. I remember it.
I thought it was Living with the Land.
No, it was It's a Small World. Out of all fucking rides, we're sitting there with our fucking kids. And she's like, so by the way, I had a miscarriage, but like, I'm fine. Like, you were like brushed it off. So like,
no, but you can't blame anyone for how they grieve. Remember, I just said it.
And I literally just like sat there with my mouth open, like, it's a world of laughter. And I'm just like, I'm supposed to process this about like
I'm cackling.
No, so I will never forget. Like,
oh my God.
Finding out It's a Small World. It's obviously not funny, but again, like that's how you told me, and
mine has been
it's very on character for us.
Yeah, I think I can kind of have a different. Well, my miscarriage is way different from yours in many circumstances, but also like more time has passed, so like I can be a little more lighthearted about it. But if I was talking about this a week after it happened, like you are, like I could not be so jolly. But yes, I did tell you on It's a Small World. Well, that's because that was the first time I had seen you since it happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say it like in front of my mom, like other people were there. So I was like, we're alone, kind of.
Just the animatronic fucking things are
so funny. I didn't realize how strange that was until now, thinking about it.
It was. I know. And I came home and I told Sam, and I was like, and she told me on It's a Small World.
That's so funny.
Definitely like the award for like not the weirdest.
Not on your bingo card for 2024. Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay.
All right. So, anyway.
We'll get serious now.
Yeah, sorry.
No, because
we had one. We had one
good
laugh.
No, because when it happened, it was fucking crazy. So Yes. So I'm trying to figure out a way to make this condensed. Basically, I found out I was pregnant about 5 months postpartum after having Julian, my second. So this was only about, well, he's 10 months now. So I guess it was like 5-6 months ago because I was like 4 or 5 months postpartum. It was in February. And found out I was pregnant. Completely out of left field, surprised. I was on birth control, all the things. We've kind of mentioned it in previous episodes, but having a second child, the 2 under 2, plus just have it going from 1 to 2 children, like completely knocked us on our ass. It was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. It was like we barely survived it. It was really hard. So at that point, we didn't even know if we were going to have a third child. Now, after all this has happened, we've kind of changed our tune on that. But at that point, we like didn't even know we were going to have a third child because going from 1 to 2 was just so hard. So yeah, about 5 months postpartum, I just knew something was off because I think when I've been pregnant now 3 times, but when I was pregnant 2 times, like I'm so hyper tuned with my body that like I just knew something was wrong. I knew I was pregnant. And that whole week leading up to taking the pregnancy test, I told Taylor, like, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, that's almost impossible, blah, blah, blah. But it is possible. I also feel like, because I got pregnant with Julian the month that I stopped breastfeeding / pumping, and then this was the month I stopped breastfeeding and pumping, and then my nurse practitioner did say, like, you're the most fertile and you like almost hyper ovulate sometimes because you haven't had a cycle. For me, I don't have cycles when I breastfeed, so the minute I stop, I like hyper cycle, I guess. I don't know, because I got pregnant with Julian right after anyway, regardless, I just knew something was off. So then I vividly remember, because I'm 4 or 5 months postpartum, I'm literally drowning with 2 kids, stay-at-home mom. I was like, I have to know. So I take both kids to Walmart. I strap Julian on my chest. I cart Gio I buy like a handful of pregnancy tests. I'm sure the lady at Walmart was looking at me like, really, bitch? Like, because they're both screaming their heads off. So I go, I'm like, I pee. I get to my house, I pee. I have both kids screaming in the bathroom. It's blazing positive. And I just like break down, like literally break down. Like I was devastated. I was like, how the fuck are we going to do this? Like, this is the last thing I wanted. And then you feel like guilt, obviously, because I know people struggle to get pregnant.
Yeah, because I want to normalize that for a second, right?
Yeah.
Is like, it's okay to feel that initial like fuck, you know?
Yeah. No, I was in the initial, I was not happy in the slightest. I was devastated is the only word I can think of.
And that's okay.
I was devastated. And I had my husband come home from work. Like I was not okay. And I couldn't handle caring for 2 children because I was not in a mentally good space. I was spiraling. So he comes home, and then obviously I tell him I take a bunch more. They're all blazing positive. And I'm just like, at this point, again, when you have kids, like you can't have those moments yet. So I like had to sort of step it up and make it through. I was like, just make it through like bedtime, just make it through bedtime. And once they went to bed, and then that's about when my husband came home, I just like lost it. And I was like, what the fuck are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Like, not to mention I just had a C-section 5 months ago. Like that can't be good. Just truly spiraling and like so devastated and sad. And I will say Taylor, he's like a man of few words, but like when it comes to like serious things, he's like knows exactly what to say, and he's very matter of fact, but like very caring. So he picked me up physically and emotionally and just was like, it's gonna be fine. You know, he a little maybe too much like it's gonna be fine, but he was just like, we'll do it. Yeah, because like I said, 2 under 2 knocked me on my ass. This would be 3 under 3. Julian and this baby would have been 13 months apart if they went full term. Like, insane. So I was thinking about that. How the F we're going to do that? How are they all going to fit in this house? How are we going to have 2 babies? And then also you think about like, what are people going to think? Like people are just going to think I'm this like big slore or like, I know it's crazy that, but that's like where my mind went. Like people are going to judge me. Like, how am I going to tell I just like all of those spirals. And then we had many conversations about it. This all happened within like a week span, probably, till the miscarriage. But anyway, so I went through my devastation phase of like really unhappy. And then Taylor really picked me up and really like got me to see the light of it, of like, it's going to be fine. Like, we'll get all 3 out of the way and then we'll be done. And the 2 older boys can share a room. Like, every sort of issue I had, he problem solved. I was like, we're going to need a bigger car. No, we can do this, whatever. And he's like, no, it's really a positive thing. It's fine. Like, we'll get them all out of the way. Then we can vacation. He was very, maybe he was concerned, but he didn't show it at all. He was very like,
he was trying to be strong. Yeah.
I totally get that. He's so strong. It's like, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine. All the things. And so I was like, okay. So then I went into like the acceptance phase of like, okay, this is our inevitable, whatever. And then like I said, this like a week span. And then I finally started getting excited. It's like what you said. Then you start planning the idea of like, okay, like actually they'll all grow up together. They'll all be in like the same, high school age. And then you start, like I said, planning this idea of what could be. And then the thing that really gets me, and it still will get me, I don't know why I'm crying my thing and not yours. No, I know. The thing that gets me is like the one thing Taylor said was like, well, this could finally be the girl that like you've always wanted. Like maybe it was meant to be, which I know meant to be is bad. But like anyone who knows me knows that like that's the only reason I won't say I'm done with kids, because I've always wanted a girl. Mm-hmm. And so that like really spirals me. I'm getting emotional because then you start, so when the miscarriage happened, then you start blaming yourself of like, what if this was the girl, or regardless of the gender, like, what if they knew that they weren't wanted? So like they like stopped fighting, like you spiral. Yeah. And so I get really emotional thinking about that. Like, and I know that that's a toxic thing of me that I need to get over. Like, that's not true. But I think about that because I didn't want it. Yeah. But then I finally got excited and I did. And then, so I had bought like a bunch of pregnancy tests already. So I was just taking them and they kind of were getting lighter. So I kind of, was getting a little weary about it. But then when you're that early, they say sometimes it can be lighter because you don't drink water enough. Like, so I was like, I don't know. But then obviously I woke up and just like gushing blood. Like it was early enough to where I didn't feel like physically pain. I didn't pass like tissues or any tissue, right. But yeah, I mean, obviously it was
a miscarriage is a miscarriage.
It was blood enough to know I was miscarrying, and then the test got lighter and lighter to non-existent. So like, it didn't take a rocket scientist to know that that's what was happening to me. So I just feel like that whole like week, I went through literally every single emotion under the sun. Like I said, from being like devastated, sad, to like accepting, to being like actually happy, like allowing myself to be happy and excited. And then having the miscarriage, but then almost like I did feel a little bit of like relief, but then you almost feel guilty. It's like so fucked.
It's so fucked. The Taylor Swift, I hate to bring it to Taylor Swift, but she's my Lord and Savior, but she has that song Bigger Than the Whole Sky.
I know.
And I know I've literally been listening to it on repeat. And she has a line like, did some force take you because I didn't pray? Like that one resonates with me. Like, like when you said like, oh, like, is it because I wasn't grateful? That kind of just resonated with me.
Yeah. I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think obviously our journeys are completely different because again, mine was unplanned, unwanted. I mean, I hate saying that out loud because I feel guilt about it.
Let's just go with unplanned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also want to be honest. Like we didn't at that time want, but then we did. And like I had kind of mentioned, so originally when we had Julian, it affected us so much that we were like, I think we might be done. Like, I don't, because we've always said like, maybe we'll try for a third, see if we get a girl. What if we don't get a girl, at least like 3, we both were like, have said 3 children. So, but then, when Julian happened, it really
3 times like also like freaks me the fuck out.
Because I had 2 high risk pregnancies, so that whole thing. So when Julian came in the picture, we were like, no, I think we're done at 2. But then when this whole miscarriage thing happened, it really, because I saw it in my head, like I said, I started planning and envisioning. Like I really don't think I'm done, and not for a while. I think both kids need to be in school before we try again. But yeah, now I'm like, now I think we want a third at some point. So like that happened and now made us to this point.
Yeah.
But there was something else I was going to say with that. So now that we both experienced miscarriage, right? We were going to talk about how there's like, obviously grieving, but then how you handle it after. And I don't know if they talk about it in the book, because like we obviously know friends who've also gone through miscarriage, and like everybody's handled it different. So, you know, we know people who they feel like they have to get pregnant again, like and that's going to cure their sadness. Like they want to get pregnant again right away. We know people like that. And then I had like the opposite, where that next week I went to the doctor and I was like, you need to implant the armpit, the arm implant, the Nexplanon on. I was like, I want birth control, permanent birth control immediately, because I don't want to go through that again, like emotionally, all of that. So, and you said you don't know what. Yeah,
I'm only a week out, so like right now I'm just trying to recover,
which is so healthy,
and get to my follow up and kind of talk about options, you know, and just I think you can't apologize for the way you grieve. I think definitely relying on. I actually ended up even opening up to friends who didn't know I was pregnant, told them that I was and then wasn't. And that's been helpful and very vulnerable. Like that was hard for me to do too, you know? 'Cause I want this episode to be also a little bit more about like, not solutions, but like, things you can do or ways you can be helpful even at a time where it feels like you're totally useless, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like as the third party who like sees their friend or family member go through this?
Right. Yeah. It's
so what has been helpful for you? I know you're only a week into it. But...
Right. I think definitely talking about it has been helpful. I think, reading and writing has been helpful for me. Again, this is going to be different for other people. People bringing food. That's honestly been number one. Like, I've gotten a couple of Uber Eats gift cards, comfort food, all of that. And just being a lending ear, like I said, like it's really, again, you will not have anything to say, and it's okay. Like, I think people are so worried that they don't have anything to say. It's fucking okay.
There's nothing to say.
There's nothing to say. Just listen and be in that space with the person. Don't try to come up with fucking God doesn't give you anything you can't motherfucking handle. If I hear that, I will flip the table. Yeah, it's you can't have these like little things in your back pocket, because I will smile and nod at you, but I will be fucking mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just being in the space of sorrow and devastation with them, and
just let people grieve however they want to grieve.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's not linear, and there's no right way to do it.
And there is a component of, I was reading in my book, like there is a component of post-traumatic stress after something like this too. And,
absolutely. And
again, I was saying, I think earlier in the episode, that I feel like I haven't dealt with it from Jonah. So I think it's really trickling into things, and get help. My next step is, I have a great therapist right now, but he's more of like family and marriage. Like, I think I want to like find someone who's more focused on pregnancy loss and just maybe post-traumatic stress and all of that.
So if you know someone, slide into our DMs.
But I'll do some research myself, but I think that's also going to be
I think
trivial,
that's really
in my
important, because then if and when the next pregnancy comes along, like I really think you need to tackle, now you've had 2 traumas regarding children and pregnancy, so I think that would be a good antecedent intervention for you.
Right. Yeah. So that's it, really.
Yeah. Sorry it was somber, but I think it's something really necessary. Taboo. Yeah. People don't talk about it. And I also think, like we said, it's therapeutic to talk about. Also, I'm sure people will reach out now saying, I think it's been helpful hearing other people's experience, because I do think, even though it is quote unquote common, you feel so alone. And also, that was another emotion I had when I had the miscarriage, even though it was unplanned. Like, you don't want to know your body is capable of doing that, of failing you, quote unquote.
Well, can I say something too? Like, I feel so stupid and naive for saying this, but I didn't think it would ever happen to me.
Yeah, well, because we had healthy pregnancies before.
I didn't think it would happen. I hate that I fucking just said that, but It's true. I didn't think it would happen to me. And I have been fucking humbled. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think my body was capable of that either. So it's really a mind fuck, and like you said, a humbling experience to know that, you know, like you said, there's nothing. Sometimes you can be the healthiest person, you can be the unhealthiest person, like it doesn't matter lifestyle, like
yeah,
it can just happen, and it's okay, and however you want to handle it's okay. And I do think from our experience talking about it, like it is helpful. Like even when I told you, I didn't really tell anybody else, but even talking about it now, it has been helpful, and I'm sure, like I said, people will
and I
reach out.
Yeah, I hope this helps somebody who has been through it or knows somebody that's going through it. And
I'm sure we'll hear from our group chat, because I hadn't even told them.
Right.
Because I didn't tell anybody I was pregnant. It all happened so fast. So like it's just a weird thing to talk about when I didn't even announce I was pregnant. So how do you just like interject like, hey, just, you know, I was pregnant, now I'm not. Like it's a weird thing to talk about.
You could do it on It's a Small World and do it that way.
Yeah, but I also know your personality, like, I don't know. You wanted to know, but
no, I would
maybe time and place.
I'm so glad you told me. Obviously, like I literally was like, thank you. As we're going through It's a Small World, I'm like, thank you for opening up.
I mean, our children were distracted. We had the intimate, we were right next to each other.
Right.
Stay. That's so funny. I'm so crazy.
You are. But again, it's on brand. It's fine.
If I ever get pregnant again, I'll make sure we go to It's a Small that's our place.
That's our place where we announce
good and bad. All the milestones. Meet me, It's a Small World, row 3. Be there.
Oh gosh. Anyway, Savannah, thank you for getting me out of bed.
Yes.
And
no problem.
Yeah. Again, I'm sorry this was a little bit of a heavier episode, but so important. Needed to happen. So important. So necessary.
Now we can jump in the next week.
Yeah. Now I feel like I can kind of go on. Because I felt like I couldn't.
It would have been really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like when you were pregnant. Like you've been pregnant every time we've recorded, and it's been so hard not to talk about.
So hard.
Because it's consumed your whole life, because you've been so physically affected. So same with this. Like, we're just too authentic for our own good, you know?
Yeah, no, I always want to keep it real. And I hope, I hope that helps people, that we're keeping it so real, you know? So
real and relatable.
Yeah, that's how we want to be. So if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for listening and continuing to be part of our journey, you know? Because we're all just in this together. We're all
surviving.
We're all doing it. We're all the ups and downs of life will be experienced. So
I think also it's important to like I said, I didn't tell anybody. So you just never know what someone's going through. I think like the person you meet at the grocery store, like they could literally be physically miscarrying at this exact moment, or someone just passed away. Like you just never, someone's social media is very like 1% of your life, or whoever.
Yeah, it's just the highlights.
Yeah, like you have no idea what someone is going through. So just like keep that in the back of your mind. Like when you want to talk shit about somebody or whatever, you know, it's like you have no idea. So just keep that in mind.
Amen, sister.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. And again, follow us at Scrunchy Moms Club Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. And
we're on Apple Podcasts now.
Yeah,
whoop, whoop.
We said that already.
I know, but I'm just letting people know.
Apple, Spotify,
maybe
Amazon.
Someone didn't see
our announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. All right. And yeah, thank you. Have a beautiful week. And stay strong. I don't know. Am I saying that for myself? I don't know. But yes, thank you again and have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.